Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So we have the obligatory all-time high video today. Let's take a look at some charts, take a look at how wrong I was since the last video. Some of those concerns remain, some of those concerns are now negated. I'll talk about that. Let's just look at the beauty that is the seasonality of crypto in Q4. I've talked about it a lot, but the expectation is Q2 and Q4 are going to be amazing. This quarter has lived up to that expectation beautifully. I never believed in almanacs. They always seemed like junk to me, but hey, this one's working out. Guess which one's BTC here though? This surprised me a little bit. Guess which one's on the bottom and guess which one's BTC in the scrum here. So actually BTC this quarter is up 90%. Ethereum 90%, I think. I forget which one's yellow and orange here. I should have labeled them, but Ethereum's up there as well. Stellar is actually at the top here at 135%. And Ripple's at 110. This is Binance coin here, BNB. And this is Link at a measly, feeble 30% on the quarter. So kind of interesting. I think I'd expect Binance coin to do slightly better than it has. And obviously, you know, Ripple and Stellar, nobody expects that ever. But they had their quarter. They were up 200% at some point. To be fair, they had years of consolidation and or downtrend. So maybe, you know, we'll give them a few sats here and there. But overall, the expectations clearly met this quarter. You know, even if we dive 15% from here, it'll still be a good quarter for the end of the year. So I go with the cloud again. So my concerns about the hanging man candlestick, which probably should be renamed before I'm canceled. Hammer, let's call it a hammer. The hammer candlestick, the concerns I had over that are gone. We've negated that. Unless we close below the candle in the next 4 days, 6 hours, I doubt it. The TK lines on the weekly are up. The cloud on the weekly is up. Everything is up now. The TKC clamp on the daily is negated, as is always the case with any higher high. This shows the probability of a higher high is less likely than mean reversion or sideways, but it never says it's impossible. It just says it's highly unlikely. But we got several days of green candles. Again, more funds now saying we've bought into Bitcoin, folks. We got in early at 10,000 or 14,000. Whatever. I'm glad they're here. Welcome everyone. Welcome one and all. Enjoy your stay. The issue with funds buying, you know, as is the case with the ETH ICO treasuries, it's great on the way up, but oh man, on the way down, it's gonna be something. I don't want to be that guy as we're hitting all-time highs, but it's just a reminder. I wouldn't call it a long squeeze. It's just a lot of big people have a lot of money in crypto now. So when the tides turn, not that they ever will, but they might, if things go sour, it's gonna be interesting to watch that unraveling. But for the moment, we are riding high at all-time high, and TK lines up, cloud up. You know, all this is bullish, obviously, incredibly bullish. Here's a win for the singled cloud people, because you had, this is a 12-hour double, daily singled. You had two TK keygen bounces rather, and got a higher high here. We were at risk for a TK cross, a bearish cross, but you know, if you're just following the system, if you're just following cloud only, you're long on the cross here and you're just holding this whole time. You're kind of ignoring the TKC clamp. All you're doing is waiting for a bearish TK cross above the cloud, which didn't happen, but was a closer to happening on the daily than it looks, because eventually the keygen just comes way up and we get a cross here. I mean, I wasn't positioned for this, so if you were, congratulations. One thing I did notice on the daily, MACD's flipped green for the first time in a couple weeks, which is bullish. Bit of a bearish divergence growing. I mean, kind of a duh moment after RSI was up there. It's hard to beat 85, 90 on the RSI on the first stab up. So that's definitely something to watch for going forward. Will this just continue to bear div, or is it a bear div, that sort of thing? You know, I think it's too early to call this a bear div yet, but I would watch for that on the way up. And if you're just trading pivots, you're thinking 23, 24. that's where the next line up here is. If you treat this as a ladder, we bounce around, make a decision, go to the next rung, make a decision. 23 is on the way up. So as far as price discovery is concerned, that's where I'd be looking in the immediate term. Otherwise, the targets are, insane. Like I talked about on the last couple of videos, 40, 50, 60K, something like that. That's not soon. That's probably within the next 2 years. Something else I noticed, Tether flipped back above $1, which confirms the bullishness, I guess. It's good to see this working as intended, in that we're bearish if Tether is below $1, we're bullish if Tether's above $1. It's kind of a proxy for demand, buying demand, I guess. So that looks good on that metric. The pitchfork looks good, telling you things it should be telling you, back in the median line, back in the brown zone. I talked about that a couple weeks ago, back where the expected rate of change is for the range. Again, always crazy to see it happen. This is where my 33K by July target comes from initially, as a pitchfork like this back in 2017 rather, right? Or no, was it here? Might have been here. There's some pitchfork here that points to 33K by July. I think it was this one. Something over here. Anyway, similar case now, again, 23K or 36K by July, whatever this is reasonable based on the rate of change. I'm just looking at the math, okay, folks? I'm just watching the same movie you're watching. I'm not anything special here. And then if we look at ETH, also canceled that hanging man candlestick, most likely, unless it closes below the open, which is probably unlikely at this point. We got a CME ETH futures announcement today. ETH on lower time frames, I don't have a chart for it, but it looks like a ascending triangle more and more. Let me pull something up here, 1 sec. Like I'm talking as though I can't edit this out later, but clearly a horizontal resistance followed by multiple higher lows. It's completely possible we just get a third higher low here, and it would look even better than it already does for bullish bias, bullish sentiment. Very strong candle today. And then lastly for ETH on that daily cloud, there was a concern, just like BTC, for that TKC clamp looks to be negated and will be negated if we get higher highs, which we most likely will, because this is a bullish bias chart pattern. And if you haven't already, go hug an altcoiner, because they're in deep despair here. Another proxy for altcoin markets. Doge hitting near all-time lows. This is breaking news. Just check this now. 16 sats, I believe. Let's see, on candles, it looks like 14 sats is an all-time low. So there is a bull div here, though. Very clearly lower lows on higher RSI. If you are a believer, a believer in Doge, you're buying here. You're taking a stab. This is your last stand. You're going to die on this hill, on this 15 sat all-time low hill. That's all for this one. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know if you are euphoric or not, and happy trading.